Greetings, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Monday Q&A. We're going to finish the Avata 2 killer. Look at this thing. Look at it. Look at that jaunty angle that it's at. Hold on. Let me show you why it's at a jaunty angle. This camera's still back here. I forgot all about it. Hold on. Look at this jaunty angle. Ugh. Hang. Look at it! It's sitting up on its 45-degree antenna. The Avata 2 killer is home to many antennas. That's the Grinderino. I can turn it off now. Lots of antennas. Lots and lots. All the antennas, as a matter of fact. I'm pulling the footage off the Grinderino. Boy, is it annoying with Walk Snail to have to power stuff in order to get footage off of it. That's, like, it's super sketchy to have to, like, plug it in and have it sitting here. I'm only using a 2S battery on it, so, like, it wouldn't, in theory, do that much damage. But, boy, is it nice to, that 04 allows you to pull footage off just by powering it through USB. There we go. Footage is off the Grinderino. What you were just watching on the intro of the stream was the Siren F3, which is on Gemfan 3052s and Toka 1505 motors. You can't get those motors anymore, which is probably a good thing anyway, because they had a terrible tendency to slip shafts. They were shaft slippers. I don't know. Grinderino. Look at this little fella. I had such a blast flying these two things, man. I mean, admittedly, that is one of my favorite spots, but yeah, man, walk snail, it works. It's super annoying to get the footage off of it. The footage looks really decent, though. That was from the onboard DVR. The other day, I was watching the other live stream. We were watching the footage from the goggles, and it wasn't anything special. I then pulled the footage off the actual DVR. I was like, wow, okay, this is like really decent. I will say that you have no control over it. You can't really put it in any kind of manual mode. Like the 04 is so much better, but you can probably find walk snail stuff relatively cheap. And like, just remember that it's old school DJI, which is bomb proof and awesome, bumped up to 1080. And so, and like, that's pretty awesome. It's not quite as good as the 03 either, but yeah, it's smaller, it's lighter, there's more camera options, there's more VTX options. And yeah, it just, when it works, it's great. I cannot recommend the walk snail light. I've had so many of those fail, that like, stay away from that. But like the other walk snail stuff, like the bigger VTXs, it's all right, man. I've had pretty decent luck with it. I haven't flown it a ton, but yeah, it's been all right. We are going to be finishing the Avata 2 killer, tongue planted firmly in cheek, today. I've got to, I spent a ton of time today figuring out the antenna situation, which is quite ridiculous. But this has 04 with the dual antennas, and then we're going to put a XR4, Radiomaster XR4, which is a Nomad diversity dual antenna 2.4 900 receiver on there. And I spent a whole bunch of time farting around on Thingiverse finding different antenna mounts. The first place I went was to License to Drive's page, Ridwan Haku 3D. He's got a whole bunch of really cool antenna mounts, and I've been printing my ass off today. I've printed a whole bunch of his mounts, which are really good and work really well. And I've landed on this setup here, which is kind of nuts, but you know, there's 4 antennas on this thing because 04 uses 2, and then the Nomad needs to use 2 as well. And so this is one of License to Drive. This is License to Drive's universal mount here. This is what it looks like when it prints. It sits down like that. So this hangs on to the rear standoffs, and then this guy drops down. And what you do is you run your Immortal T antenna through here, and then you take these little guys and you wrap them around it. And then he's got these little nubs, and so you wrap it around the antenna, and then it just goes into the little nub. So you got the little thingy, and this is what that looks like when it's done. That guy wraps around there, and what's really cool about it is that it works with this Radiomaster dual band antenna, 900 2.4 antenna. There are not many Immortal T mounts that are sort of set up for this, for the dual antenna jib jab. And so yeah, super cool. Hangs it down off the bottom standoff, gets it as far away from the carbon as you realistically can before you get super heavy. This top mount here, that's got the double 04 antennas in it, this is from Brain 3D. And then this 45 degree angle mount is from License to Drive as well. I kind of ran out of standoff space, and so I had to chop the top. It has a standoff. It normally has a standoff loop here that I chopped off. I actually got in touch with License to Drive today, and he was like, well, shit, I'm showing him what I was doing, thanking him for the cool designs. And he was like, yeah, I can just kind of change that design to just have one standoff loop there for you. So that'll be super cool. But this totally works here. It's just there's a whole bunch of wasted material there. But yeah, it's good to go. It's got that one at 45 degrees so that when you're nose down flying, it's roughly vertical. And then you've got the one left to right on the back. So they're really, really, really covering each other's nulls, right? This antenna has nulls going left and right, but then this antenna has nulls going up and down. So the strongest direction for this vertical antenna is left and right where the nulls are. And then the strongest direction for this horizontal antenna is up and down, and that's where the nulls are here. So this antenna setup, even though it's kind of insane and there's a lot going on, it should work really, really, really well. Like this thing should get just tons and tons and tons of range. And then of course the 04 antennas are up nice and high, and they're at like, I would like for them to be more of a 90-degree angle from one another, but this is pretty close. When you like roll into it, you've got one, you know, if you roll and turn, you've got one that's perfectly vertical and the other one that's covering the null. So yeah, this should be pretty good. This is an awful lot of TPU to be hanging off the back of here, but to be honest, like each one of these mounts is relatively like slim. So this is really only adding a few grams. I know it looks like a lot. This is the biggest kind of chunk here, but it's really thin. And so, yeah, this shouldn't be adding that much weight to this guy. So, yeah, all we have left is to solder up the flight controller to the XR4 receiver, stick the receiver down to the top of the 04, get it shrink wrapped, wire runs, all that good stuff. Obviously, the silly little stuff that takes forever that you never think about. Throw a zip tie around this capacitor here, plug in the flight controller to the ESC, and then that's it. Everything else is wired. Everything else is ready to go. So yeah, this thing is almost ready to go. This will be the first custom rig that I've flown on 04. So this should be super cool. I'm really looking forward to this. Brother Hobby VY2004 motors, extremely lightweight motors, 3950 kV. This thing will be on the Gemfan D76 5 blades to keep the volume down as much as possible. Also, this is kind of a low kV. 3950 kV is a little bit on the low side, but with those 5 blade props and with how light this thing is going to be, it should have tons of power. Dual battery setup so that if I use this for live broadcast, I can keep the 04 powered up. The batteries that I run, it also makes it easier to run either XT30 or XT60 batteries. So yeah, this kind of has all the tricks thrown at it. It's got some extra weight thrown at it because of the extra antennas, the extra TPU, the extra battery lead. But this is not going to be carrying around a GoPro. This is specifically, I've specifically built this to not carry a GoPro around. So it's going to save 120 to 150 grams. Which will easily, you know, so the extra couple of grams here, the extra couple grams back here won't really make a difference. And we'll see. I'm super curious what kind of runtime this thing will get with like a 4S 1050 mAh battery. I'm also super curious what it's going to weigh with that. I wonder if this will weigh 350 grams all up or 380 grams all up. The Avata 2 is basically 399.9 grams. And so, yeah, this should be a little bit lighter. We'll see. This 45-degree angle antenna, this guy is super floppy. You put it right down on the desk, and or on any flat surface, and it just pushes that antenna down. It's actually like no big deal. It's pretty cool. One of the things I like about these, I kind of always run my Immortal T antenna down and off the back of the rear standoffs. One of the things I like about doing that is it acts like a little bit of a landing gear. Like it sits up on this antenna, and it keeps the bottom off the ground there. So that gives this just a little bit more sort of clearance. So we'll see. We'll see how this might drive me insane, like up against my bag, but I don't think so, man. I think as long as I'm a little bit careful with this will always just kind of flatten out and all will be right with the world. So yeah, we'll see. Cool little setup. This thing is coming along. I've taken my time with this to get it really dialed in and to get everything as close to sort of perfect as possible. Because this could be really cool, man. Having an 04 Pro on something that should have really good runtime, and good power to weight ratio with motors that'll make a bunch of power. Like this thing, it's kind of a weird comparison, this versus the Avata 2. I mean, the big thing that the Avata 2 has that this will never have is adjustable up tilt, which is super slick. But what the Avata 2 doesn't have that this does is like proper flight characteristics, right? DJI uses tiny little motors that get overwhelmed very easily and the damn thing falls out of the air when you push it really hard. This will not be like that. These motors are 2005. I think the Avata 2 motors are 1507s, right? So terrible 2-to-1 ratio. These are 2004s. So these motors will stay cool all the time. They'll put full power down whenever you ask for them. Are there specs on the Avata 2 battery? What MAH is the Avata 2 battery? I know that it's 4S. Holy hell, 2150 kV. MAH rather. That's why it gets such crazy runtime. 145 grams. 2150 mAh, 17 volts. Wait, that's 3S. Oh, no, that's 4S. Yeah. 2150 mAh, 145 grams. Hold on. Wow. That's insane. Hold on. Let me grab a big old 4S and see what... I actually don't know what like a big 4S weighs. I think this is the biggest 4S that I have. Here's a 1300. Jesus, 2150. How the hell? All right, so let's see what this 1300 mAh... You gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh my god, this... I think the scale's broken or something because I put these batteries back on the charger and they say that they're fully charged. See? Now the scale's fine. Sorry for anybody wearing headphones, although, you know, you're dead now, so it is what it is. Uh-oh. No, I broke the scale. It's stuck on hello. I mean, it was broken anyway. Oh. Nope. It said something. It said unset. This scale was like $10. Oh, nope, there it goes. Look at that. Oh, it is not very accurate anymore, though. What? So, what? This is a Tattoo R-Line, which are their lighter weight batteries. It is a version 4. The version 1 Tattoo R-Lines are significantly lighter. As the versions have gone up, they've gotten a little bit heavier. This 4S 1300 mAh battery is 137 grams. This is 10 grams lighter than... Oh my god. Than a battery with almost 1,000 extra mAh. That is ridiculous. Oh my god, dude. I'd never looked that up. That is outrageous. What the hell is DJI doing to get that much mAh into a battery that's that light? Holy hell. Good lord, man. That's wild. Well, it ain't... We'll see. We'll see what the runtime is. It was wishful thinking from the get-go. I originally did the whole Avata killer thing as just straight up clickbait. I've never seriously, I've never been serious about that. But you know, it's similar, right? 04 on board, Cinewoop. It's gonna have full prop guards, so it kind of made sense. But wow, I didn't realize how much MAH they were really cramming into that battery. That's insane. The only explanation that I've ever heard that makes any sense how DJI does that is that they have a special battery chemistry that allows them to overcharge the batteries like crazy. So like it's like more so than HV, right? More than like 4.35 per cell. I swear to God, I heard somebody say 5 volts per cell. That seems a little bit insane, but that would explain how they can get that much MAH into a battery, I guess. I don't know what else. Who knows? That's wild. In the chat, Doubles FPV was first. Frank Nicholas was next. Caleb, Jamie Flies, Zeft, Everyday with Bruno, Notice, Andrew Taylor, FizzPV, Shoujo, Danzilla the Terrible, Everyday with Bruno again, Render, Frank Nicholas again, Steady Eddie, License to Drive's in the house. There he is. What's up, brother? Glad to have you back. Andrew Taylor, Doubles, Fizz, Lewis, Thought Cannon, Craig, Steady Eddie, Shoujo again, Andrew Taylor again, Sporny, Islander, Zach, Hopper, 2 different people. Denzel the Terrible, Lewis, Camilo, Shoot FPV. Thanks for coming, friends. Make yourselves at home, hang out, have a good time. Hold on. Denzel the Terrible tagged me and said, "Suppity sup sup. If you want to talk directly to me, type CiottiFPV into your chat message. If you want to talk to somebody else and get their attention, type their name into your chat message." License to Drive says, "Hey." Lewis says, "As a professional, would you say pilots can do gig work as a hobby / for fun? Are you a believer in the whole separation of work / fun idea?" The answer to that I want to give is that yes, pilots can do gig work for hobby / fun. As someone who loses a lot of gigs to pilots that are willing to do them for free or for practically nothing, I don't like that. You know, the people hiring the FPV pilot don't understand what the difference is between, most of them don't understand what the difference is between a hobbyist and a professional pilot, and they're just trying to save a buck. There have been numerous scenarios over the years where those typically inexperienced pilots hit shit and hit people, and they can they will, for that person that hired them, ruin it for the rest of us. So it's a really sticky situation. I would, unfortunately, there's kind of, and the first thing that the hobbyists say is to come, to argue that point is, oh, there's plenty of work to go around. There's not. There really isn't. FPV is a niche within a niche within a niche within a niche. And there just isn't enough work to go around. And like when an inexperienced pilot screws up or just doesn't deliver footage that's like top notch or usable, and like, to be honest, FPV footage is very difficult to use as it is. So it's like a perfect scenario for that to happen. Everyone involved never hires another FPV pilot, right? And I suffer, and that has happened to me time and time and time and time and time again. Every once in a while, like a client will hire me and then they'll hire someone cheap and then they'll reach back out to me and be like, yeah, we tried to get somebody else. And it just happened late last year where they were like, yeah, we hired somebody cheap and they broke a windshield on one of our Lambos. Um, and I'm like, you know, you loved me. You loved the footage that I delivered, and then you just cheaped out. And it's like, you know, well, you got what you asked for, but that doesn't help, right? Like, oh, I told you so. I didn't tell them so, but like, you know what I mean? The whole situation is bad. So like, but like, I want hobbyists that are confident enough, that know what they're doing, that can deliver good footage. I want them to be able to go fly stuff that's more than just parking lots, right? So it's just kind of impossible. Like there's no right answer. Yeah, I don't know. It's something that uh, what some advice that I get constantly is to leave Atlanta. So like uh, when I talk to other pro pilots that kind of see what's going on and they're not like totally buried with work, from getting like a really solid connection that delivers a lot of work to them. The other pro pilots who are like me, who are like scrounging for work, basically, like more often than not, they're just like, why the hell are you still in Atlanta? Like you're in the spot that is the most, either the most or like the second most saturated with hobbyist pilots taking any work, most of it literally for free. What are you doing, dude? You have to get out of there. And so, yeah, like I'm in arguably like the birthplace of FPV, right? And so I get it worse than damn near anybody, other than maybe like Florida. You could probably say Florida is even worse, with Rotor Riot being there and with their massive FPV community. And so yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Like I wish that I could get connected in with someone that has infinite money, that has lots of work, and then I don't have to worry about this. But that hasn't happened to me yet, right? Like that's happened to a bunch of other pro pilots, and I love that for them. But like I haven't gotten that in yet. There's not somebody local that understands what FPV is and has the money, has the work for it. And so yeah, I don't know. But it's you know what I'm saying? Like it's super 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 tough. FPV like just exploded all at once, and it was a bit much, and I think that had a lot to do with it. Like everybody needed it, and like I did as many gigs as I could 3 years ago, but like I was doing like 2 or 3 a week, and there was stuff that I was having to turn down, and like so I'm at that point I'm a part of the problem, right? I'm telling them like, hey, I can't do it. I'm booked on that day, and then they're gonna find somebody else. And for a while I've been like the one guy doing this sort of full time here. So yeah, it's tough. It's super tough. I don't have a great answer to that question, but that's kind of the situation. Thought Cannon says, "What about landing with that antenna sticking out the bottom? It should be fine. I mean, if I come in like really fast, it'll bend out of the way and maybe get mangled. But I'll try to remember to just kind of land it flat, or even like come in like right like." One of the ways that I will land when I'm in a hurry sometimes is like nose down, fly in, and then flare up, blip the throttle a little bit, and just let it kind of slap down. And so if I just always let it land like that, it'll be totally fine, right? Because it'll hit butt first and it'll fold that down. So I just have to try to remember with this rig not to come in and skid. So what I'll probably do is keep these foam feet on there, because when you have nice big foam feet, if you do forget and try to come in and skid, the foam is not slippery and it'll just kind of stop. So should be all right. I am gonna snag a couple extra of these antennas though. I'm literally doing a get FPV order. Radio Master dual antenna. Of course it's out of stock. Why would it be in stock? I need it. And so it shall be out of stock. That's annoying. Well, at least they're only $6.50. I was looking at them somewhere else, maybe Pyrodra, and they were $10 an antenna. I was like, oof, that's a bit much. Frank Nicholas says DJI Avata 2 takeoff weight 377. God damn it. Jamie Flies FPV says gotta land backwards with that antenna. Yeah. Frank Nicholas says link in the Avata 2 spec page. Thank you, brother. FizzPV says my dad taught me to coax a car, threaten a computer, and abuse peripherals. Zach says, isn't the Avata a lithium-ion battery? Oh my god, maybe. Is there a weight difference between lithium-ion and LiPo? Yeah, lithium-ions always have more MAH per gram. DJI battery is lithium-ion. Ah, okay. Okay, so that makes sense. All right. That also explains why the flight performance is nowhere near as good. Because lithium-ion batteries won't deliver anywhere near the voltage of LiPos. So I will get a lithium-ion 4S battery. Matter of fact, I just saw, when I was farting around on Get FPV earlier, I just saw in new arrivals a bunch of gold line lithium-ion batteries. Let's see what they got. So here's a 4,500. That's a bit much. 3S, 4S, another 4,500, 3S 3000. Is there a 4S 3000? There's a 4S 3000. Let's see what this weighs. Yeah, let's see what this guy weighs. Oh, it's 208 grams. Jesus hell. Okay, so these aren't going to work. 3000 is too much. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, there was a whole category for lithium-ion batteries. Oh, farts. Let's see what they got in here. They have anything less than 3,000? 5,000. 20,000. Good lord. Oh, come on now. What are the 18650 cells are 3,000? Okay, so I would need something with smaller than 18650 cells. Anybody know of a 4S lithium-ion battery less than 3,000 milliamps? Anybody seen one of them anywhere before? Because that's what I need. Ooh, that might be tough to find. Damn. All right. I might be willing to try a 3,000. It'll basically, I'll basically be flying the damn thing with a GoPro on it, weight-wise. That'll be kind of annoying, but I mean, it'll probably run for 100 days and nights. Interesting. Wow, I had no idea it was a lithium-ion battery. That makes so much sense, though. 6S, 6S. So I'm just going to open up a tab with this. I have a feeling this is going to be it. I have a feeling this... $55. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it. 208 grams. God damn, dude. Are you kidding me? That's a bit much. Oh, well. Denzel the Terrible says those DJI batteries are probably over-spec'd HV packs. Lewis says lithium-ion, my friend. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Lewis also says, do you have an avatar or know someone who does? You could ask them to multimeter those batteries. I do. I can actually ask Patrick to do that. Although I think the batteries have weird shit going on in them. Sporty says, the difference is crazy. Here in Germany, you have maybe 5 dudes flying FPV at 150-mile radius. Yeah, there's 5 dudes here every 5 miles. FamG Thrills is in the house. He says, yo, my good old friends. Good to have you, friend. I haven't seen you in a while. Fracticless says, all the FPV lithium-ion packs you're looking at are probably 1860s. Yeah, that's. I'm assuming that same thing. DJI's is probably pouches of Enzyme in a plastic case. Yeah. Oh, well. Hold on. Real quick, let's take a look at, just for the sake of it, let's take a look at Pyrodrone. Batteries. Not by brand. We'll do cell count. 4S. Capacity brand. Let's do capacity 1500 to 2000. That'll cut the number of choices down quite a bit. All right, so these are all LiPo. I wonder if I can do a text search. Oh my God, are there really no lithium ions on here? Yikes. Here's a 1550 high volt that's only 165 grams. That's pretty interesting. Wow, yeah, none. No lithium ion 1500. What if we just Google search it? 4S LIION. Let's just, what's that gonna turn up? Get FPV, race day quads. Flywoo's got one, 3000 mAh though, 5000, 3000, 2800. Hey, what do we got here? Oh, these are out of stock. Damn. I know that there are, here we go, 2600. What? That's interesting. I know that there are cells smaller than 18650. I forget, is it 16650 maybe? Which is basically what I would need to kind of find. Oh! We're getting somewhere. 2600. It's coming down a little bit. No, 2600 again. Oh, XT30. Jesus, no. 4,000, 1,000. Look at that. What? That's weird. 3S, we don't want that. Interesting. Do me a favor, friends. Keep your eyes peeled. Next time you're looking at batteries, see if you can find a smaller capacity lithium ion. Could be interesting. Let's make this thing actually kill an Avata 2. So this is a 2600. Let's see what it weighs. 202 grams. Nah, that's what all the 3000s weigh. 207 grams. Yeah, see, no. Nope. I can't imagine I'll be able to find it, but you never know. What's the smaller than 18650 cell? 16340? What? Google, you usually just instantaneously give me the answer perfectly clear. 14500? Yeah, there it is. 14500. What's the MAH? I bet you this is what I would need. MAH. Typical MAH 14.5. Oh, what? 1000 mAh. That's what the shit. No. Here we go. 2500. 14500. So I would need a 14500 4S XT60. Maybe that'll narrow it down a little bit. Let's put lithium ion there. Nah. Well, I guess that's what I would be looking for. Hey, what's this? You know eBay's got our back. Where's the actual listing? Hold on. See original listing. So I would have to put an XT30 on. No, it's also only 2S. But yeah, 1200 mAh. In theory, it would be super light. Well, I'm gonna leave this tab open too. Do a little digging tonight. What's happening in the chat? Dave S says, any experience with Happymodel OVX300 VTX? Trying to decide between that and Rush Tank Mini on a 2-inch open prop 2S. I would go with the Rush Tank Mini. The OVX is kind of like a tiny whoop, just like ultra small, ultra lightweight VTX. The Rush Tank Mini has like a heat sink, and it's a little bit more substantial, and that's a more substantial kind of build that you're looking at. So yeah, I would do the Rush Tank Mini, I think. Tim S says you can get 16 500s, but the current output is yeah, right. Yeah. The current output is going to be even worse. The 18650 current output sucks as it is. Yeah, that stinks. Good call. Jim Flies FFP says VAP cell 18350s. 18350. 18350. It just thinks. Oh, it actually spelled it. Literally searched for 18650, thinking I typed it wrong. Yeah, there we go. Oh, tiny little guys. Tiny. Yeah, 900 mAh, that's not enough. I would need something that's like 2000 mAh. Yeah, no, 900 mAh. Those 18350s are way too small. They're cute little devils, though. Look at those little bastards. Yeah, no, the discharge rate's going to be the problem. The 18650 seems to be like super optimized in terms of like the lithium ion batteries. The output still sucks. But yeah, going smaller, it's going to get even worse. 1300 mAh 18350. That's interesting. But yeah, it's going to be tough. Frank Nicholas says 18350 4S equals 1800 mAh. Okay. I mean, that is kind of what I'm looking for. There's a 2S one by ZOHD. Hey! No, that says 18650. Damn. Oh, wait, no, that says 18650 too. I'm looking for 18350. Damn. Wait a second. Yes, I meant 18350. Whatever. eBay is going to be where I find it. Realistically. Hold on. Let's take a quick. Super fast. Let's just dump this into the eBay search. Yeah, I'm not going to build a battery. Wait. Instead of 4S, let's type in 4-cell. Damn. I could run these guys in series, parallel. I always forget which is which. Ooh. This is going to be tough to find. Tough to find. Oh well. Brian Kirk says, "Can you build your own battery?" I mean, I can, but I'm not gonna. I don't mess with soldering directly to the batteries. They're just too scary. I guess the lithium-ion batteries would be a little bit less scary, but I'm not doing it. All right. So let's get to work. Let's finish this thing up, man. What do you say? Come over here and pick my nose for a minute. You guys can't see me. Stand by. Digging for gold. Didn't find any. All right. Get some of this out of the way. And so here is the flight controller. Oh, I also need to make a make or find a cable from the flight controller to the 04. I forgot about that. But let's handle the receiver first. So I don't even need this guy over here. I do need to desolder. There's a regular old ELRS receiver on here that I'll put onto something else. So I'm going to desolder this, but I'm going to pay attention to the wiring so that I can have short wire runs, because I might as well use these same pads. So this flight controller is going to sit like this. The nose of the quad is going to be here. The ass of the quad is going to be there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder these leads going inwards so they can go in, turn a 90-degree angle, and then the receiver is going to sit right here. But we're going to deal with the receiver first and get the wires soldered up all pretty like. This is the OmniFixo. It is the goddamn best. If you have any other helping hands, throw them in the effing river and get yourself an OmniFixo. It's not all that expensive, and it just works so well. The jaws open perfectly flat. They don't open like weird alligators, so you get like full contact. They're magnetized, and so they stay where you put them. They don't do that thing that the other helping hands do, where when you push it this way, it then when you let go, it springs back a bunch. You put this exactly where you want it, and it stays right there. The base is magnetic here. It's just awesome. My favorite way of grabbing stuff is to use two to grab them. Put a little bit of an angle on them, move them forward a little bit, and then you take one more and you grab one of the other guys here. This way, if you're pushing on this, it's got a little bit more resistance. Even with two, if you push good and hard, it can slide and move around a little bit. So take the extra ones, hook them up. It doesn't really matter how, just in any kind of way, just to sort of triangulate it. And now it's a lot more stable. So we've got RX, TX, 5-volt, and ground. Let's get these tinned first. We're going to put some flux paste on them. They give a nice little bundle of wires here, which is cool. Black, red, white, and green. That'll work. And so let's just splay these out. It looks like the wires are pre-tinned, but they're going to be pre-tinned with lead-free solder, which sucks. So we're going to just drop these in there, and we're going to add a little bit of solder. Might as well add some flux to them to just help them out. Okay, a little bit of flux on each wire. The little flux syringe thing is so cool because you just take the little bits of wire and just put them down the little spout, and they get covered in flux. And so let's really quickly do this. Let's move these wires away from the receiver so that no solder balls make their way onto it. Clean the tip of the soldering iron when you remove it from the stand, not when you're putting it back in the stand. Having solder on the tip of the iron when you put it back in the stand actually helps it to not oxidize, which is the goal. And so we're going to put the tip of the soldering iron below and feed some fresh solder in from up top. There's one. There's two. 3. 4. And cut these down a little bit. They're a little bit too long, I think. Let's look at the thickness of the PCB. Yeah, these are a little bit too long. So I'm just going to chop a tiny little bit off of them. Little tip, put your finger on your cutters, put your finger here. And that way when you cut it, it'll get caught in with your finger and then you can just throw it away. So just keep your finger like that, get it the right length, chop it, and then what I'll do is I have a little garbage container here. Just go over it and bang it on there, and then you just drop it in. Super slick, keeps you from making a big mess on your desk. More importantly, it keeps little bits of metal that could be magnetic and or act like little solder balls and fall in between components and short shit out. The better you keep control over the conductive things, the less blown up shit you will have. All right, there's all 4. And workspace is nice and clean. Right, so how did that happen? CiottiFPV says parallel just makes it more MAH series. That's it. Yeah, series adds them in volts. Adds to the voltage. I don't know why I can't keep the two straight. I need like a funny saying or like an acronym or something like that. That shit always works. All right, here we go. We got flux on there. Now we're gonna tin these pads. Actually, I forgot about that. Soldering iron out of the stand. Clean it. Away we go. So similar kind of thing. I'm gonna put heat on the bottom and then feed solder. I'm gonna put heat kind of on the side. You want to make sure you get enough solder on there to cover the whole pad. And you want to make sure that you leave the soldering iron on the pad long enough to heat the entire pad up. Top looks good. Take a quick look at the bottom. That looks good as well. So now I'm going to decide which direction I want the wires to go. I'm going to use these little castellated pads. They got the little pocket on the side of the pad. I'm going to put the wire directly into that pocket. It's super strong when you do that. You just have to pick. Do you want them to go up or do you want them to go down? I'm going to make them go up because this is where the UFL the UFL ports are. So I'm actually going to flip this thing upside down. If you're going to have big, thick UFLs plugged in, you might as well send the wires in that direction too, to use some of that space being made from those wires. There we go. Radio Master very kindly silkscreened both the top and the bottom of the board. That's pretty cool. Not everybody does that. That's a nice little touch. And I'll keep them. I usually like de-twist the wires, but I'll keep them like this. No, I won't. All right, so here we go. We're gonna go from my left to right, and so that means ground first. Try not to cross over yourself. It just adds complexity for no real reason. And I can almost certainly do this by hand because these are tiny little pads and tiny little wires. This is also a small component. This is not like an ESC that has a massive ground plane in it that's going to suck up lots of heat. So in this case, I'm pretty much just going to touch the tip of the soldering iron. It's all going to happen at once. 3, 2, 1. Well, it is the ground pad, so it is going to take a split second. But yeah, that was super quick. All right, then we've got voltage. And what I am trying... Let me give you a little bit of a better view of this. What I am trying to do is tuck the silicone insulation right up against the board. Let's come in here and set the focus to manual real quick. Come on now. right, manual focus. Oh, no, that's the wrong goddamn camera. We're going to go to this one. Okay, manual focus. There we are. All right, so let's see. Once there's one wire in the way, it gets a little bit more difficult, but it'll be fine. Get in here. Make sure you get it perfectly in position before you get the heat on there. You want to put as little heat as possible into your electronics. And I see how I got that silicone right up against there. It'll be nice and strong. That way there's not, like, when there's a little section of exposed wire, that's where it's going to bend. And it's going to bend there over and over and over and over again until it breaks. So try to get the silicone right up against it, and then it'll bend in the silicone, and the silicone will prevent it from kinking. Clean the tip of this soldering iron real quick. All right. Just randomly choosing green or white. That one's a little ugly. Hold on. Nope. There we go. That looks a little better. And last one. There we go. Okay. Get it ready. Okay. Oh, I think I might have pulled one of the little strands of wire out of there. Hold up. That's fine. Good enough. All right. And now the most important bit, which is to check your work. Don't just assume that it's good to go. Take a good close look at it, hopefully with magnification on. I'm, of course, wearing the nerd goggles. Awesome. And back to autofocus, unfortunately. All right. Friendly says battery/car analogy. Parallel is equal to number of fuel tanks. Each have their own fuel line. Dual tanks increases capacity. Dual fuel lines increasing C rating. Series changes the octane energy. That's a pretty cool. That's a good analogy. Did I say just the tip? Oh shit. Okay, so this is looking good. The next thing that I like to do is kind of like plan it out a little bit. Figure out. Sometimes what I like to do is run these cables along the length of the component, VTX receiver typically. It leaves a little bit of extra cable. God forbid down the road you need to rework this and put it farther away. You can bring them out the other way. Also, it's nice and tidy out this side, and you can put shrink wrap out this side and pinch the shrink wrap so that it's a little bit waterproof. In this case, I've got these two big long cables. I gotta deal with all this cable length, so I'll probably deal with it by looping it like that, right? Once and twice. So I want the UFL pads to be rearward like this. And so if I want to run these cables like this, I'm then going to loop them outside of the shrink wrap and then run them back up to the front, back up to the flight controller. That's kind of fine, but I mean, the other option is just to run them straight out the front and have a super short little wire run there. Definitely not going to put this upside down. I mean, I could put it like this and then like loop these guys like that. Or even just, oh, I kind of like that. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'll put these UFLs actually in this direction, and then that way everything exits out the one side. These guys can go outside there and then just stick it down. Maybe I'll do that. Also, having the wires running in like this and then shrink wrapping them down protects them from getting yanked. If you've got the wires just going straight out like this, if they get pulled really hard, they're going to be a lot weaker. By doing it like this, the shrink wrap will kind of like grab onto the cables a little bit. It's also it's just super neat and tidy to kind of do it this way. Yeah, let's do that. Let me put a little bend in them, and this way they'll sit pretty flat, and then I'll just throw the shrink wrap up over here. But first, we're gonna get these soldered up to the flight controller. So let's get these rotated a little bit, twisted up, I should say, a little bit to keep them together. Also, there's something called twisted pairs, which claims that there's some benefit to doing this from a noise reduction standpoint. I don't know if I buy it, but it certainly looks nice, and it keeps the cables from flopping all over the damn place and like getting dragged out into the props or anything weird like that. So there we go, a little bit of a twist. We can get the included shrimp wrap just kind of on here, get it started. Not going to shrink it down yet because I got to plug those UFLs in, but all right, so if that's sitting there, bind button is there, that's kind of nice, easy access to that if I ever need it. And then, so, all right, let's get the, somebody type into chat for me, please, red, black, white, hold on, type red, black, this flight controller has nothing silk screened on it. Not one thing. Which is absolutely ridiculous. So red, black, and then white is RX. Red, black, RX, TX. Red, black, RX, TX. Yep, that's what this is. A little bit of flux, and one. Sometimes they'll just kind of come off on their own. Red, black, RX, TX. Okay. This is leaded solder on here, I can tell. And there is enough solder, so this is totally fine. Jesus. Okay, so let's see how long the wire run needs to be here. Thank you, Cole. All right. This guy's going to sit like that, right? ESC, DJI. Yeah, okay. So, get this guy in here. Where he going to be? And I'm going to push this back a little bit farther, just so that if anything, there's a little bit of extra cable. And so there, that's the other thing that twisting these does, is it gives you a little bit of extra cable in case you need it down the road. And so I'm gonna again just like run it a little bit wide here, and there it is. Okay, so that's Receiver pushed back. Wires run out. That's probably like between twisting and between pushing the wires out, I'm probably adding like an extra full inch of cable, and then I've got another inch of cable in here. So if I needed to mount this somewhere else, I could probably get an extra 2 inches of cable, and like on an FPV build, that's all you'll ever need. That's all the extra cable you'll really ever need. Unless it's like some weird like lifter or something like that. All right. Now we're going to strip and tin these, blop them down on the pads, and all the soldering will be done. This is the end of the soldering on this build. Okay, separate these. And I'm just going to, on 30 gauge wires, I really like to just use my fingernails. I barely have fingernails because I'm an anxious wreck. But even with gnawed to hell fingernails, you can still absolutely do this. What's nice about using your fingernails is you'll never nick one of the inner strands of wire. Your fingernails are not as hard as a pair of metal clippers, and they're also not sharp. And so this is a completely safe way of stripping wire. And they're attached to your fingies. So you don't have to pick them up or put them down or anything like that. Just got to make sure like you really drive your fingernails into the silicone. Also, you need to be using silicone insulated wires. The PVC coated wires, this will not work. But if you're using PVC coated wires, you're already frustrated and angry at the world and ready to jump off the roof. The last little thing I do is just push down. If you're going to use your fingernails, the only problem is when you pull, the silicone insulation can slide up a little bit. So just one little extra step, just come in here with the longest fingernail you've got and just push down on the silicone. And that'll push it like back to normal, and it'll give you like a little bit of extra wire to kind of work with. I'm cutting these nice and short because the pads on the flight controller are nice and short. Let's see if I can do this without the OmniFixo. No. Why not? It's so easy. It's right here. Grab it. Snag it. Tin it. And away we go. Soldering iron on the bottom. Solder on the top. You're trying to push solder in between the strands of wire. Soldering iron on the right. Solder coming in from the left. Soldering iron behind. Pushing solder in from the front. Soldering iron on the bottom. Solder from the top. No big deal. Anybody can do it. Don't be afraid of soldering. Practice. Follow the basics. Don't skip the flux step. I just skipped the flux step on the wires. Never skip the flux on the pads. You can skip the flux on the wires. But man, does it help. Red, black, RX, TX. Okay. So red, then black. I'm gonna put this receiver somewhere that these wires are gonna be long enough. Just kind of put it there, maybe. Yep, that's perfect. And now I highly recommend you use tweezers for this kind of stuff so that you can just hold these wires perfectly in place. Your fingers are going to be like too big and fat, just trust me. At this point, I will add just a tiny little touch of flux on top of these little solder balls here, on top of the pads. The 3 seconds it took me to do that will typically pay off Get all this other shit out of the way. Get this battery lead out of the way so that you don't melt it. Ask me how I know. All right, red off on the left, correct? Yes, red. And so I'm going to grab this 30 gauge wire with just the very tip of these really fine tipped tweezers, get it perfectly in place. The tip of the tweezers I can push down against the flight controller with so that there's zero movement. Bring the heat in, push down, give it a second to cool. Next is the ground. This is going to take a second longer. Get it on there. Push down. There it goes. Fully liquid. Remove the heat. At this point, sometimes I'll just do it randomly because it's a 50-50 shot, but I'll take a quick look. RX on the board needs to be TX coming out of the receiver, and that is green. I would have gotten it right. TX out of the receiver goes to RX on the board. So yeah, I would have been all right. But hey, we checked it. Grab the green. Get it in position. Pushing the tips of the tweezers down against the board is so nice. You will get zero vibration, zero cold solder joints. It's just great. Nice and clean. Tiny little solder blobs. Nice and smooth, nice and round. You could argue that there's a little bit too much solder on there, but it's fine. I would rather have a little bit too much than not enough. The silicone is butting right up against the solder. We don't have like 2 millimeters of exposed wire, and we've got those going inboard so that the installation is nice and clean. We are going to pick these up a little bit. Going to lift these up so that they don't bang against the flight controller. That would be bad. But you can see there's a little gap here. If you want to be completely nuts about that, take your tweezers and put them right up against the pad and then like push down. This will give it a little like upward. Be super careful when you're doing this though. I'm actually not going to do that. No. Because you can just pull up on them and it accomplishes kind of the same thing. And so there we go. That is looking mighty fine. A couple little bits of wire that drop down in there. Okay, so now we're going to get these UFL antennas plugged in. Might as well let them cross over like that. And then I'll let them cross over again. Highly recommend when you're working with UFLs to wear your magnified goggles, magnified headset, whatever the hell you got. It just makes it so much easier. I don't know what it is about UFLs, but boy, without seeing what I'm doing, I feel like I can never get the damn things plugged in right. Like I'm always putting them in crooked, pushing really hard on them. And if you push really hard on them, it's super easy to actually bend them all out of shape, and then you're in for a world of hurt. So just be cool and wear your magnified goggles. And so I kind of crossed them over because I want this shrimp wrap to be able to kind of clamp down on everything here. And it also makes them just a tiny little bit shorter. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. They'll probably run up over top of that, but this is looking nice. And so now, since this is all plugged in, I'm not going to use the regular lighter. I'm going to use a little a little torch lighter. I'm getting this shrink wrap kind of perfect. I want enough extra shrink wrap on this side so that I can pinch it closed. And then I want to do the same thing on this side to just try to make it sort of as waterproof as possible. And so you should have one of these stupid little dollar store torches, and then they almost always have the ability for you to refill them. And so you just kind of hold this like far away is just like the trick here, because you don't want to melt anything else. But the shrink wrap will melt at a lower temperature than anything else. So just keep it moving, keep it far away, and you'll be totally fine. So there's the top, pretty good. I will hit that one more time. But now we're going to get the bottom. Even better is an electric heat gun. I have one in the garage, but this little tiny torch works so well. Keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. Keep it far away. Let the heat build up. And so now I want to try to seal this end, so I'm going to hit both sides and then just come in here and burn myself a little bit. And yeah, you can just pinch this right down. And now the back side of it is somewhat waterproof. Let me take a look with some magnification. Yep, good to go. It's always way harder to get the other side sort of waterproof, and you kind of can't because there's wires coming out of it, but you can at least kind of like push it down a little bit and get it to the point where it'll be sort of water resistant, let's say. So let me do that real quick here. All right, there's the top. Let me hit the bottom again. If you hold it too, that'll make sure you're not getting it too hot, because you'll scream. That's a little bit of a kind of trick there. Not much of a trick, but... And you do kind of burn yourself when you're doing this, but suck it up, Buttercup. It's all for the good of the build. And just kind of trying to pinch it on the outsides there. It's also why I only twist the wires up here after they kind of exit where the receiver is, because I'm just trying to get it to be as flat as possible so that I can pinch it down. This isn't great. I should have maybe used a little bit of a longer bit of shrink wrap, but it's fine. If you really want to waterproof this, just take some E6000 and squirt some E6000 in there. Right in there. You could just shoot some E6000 right into that gap. I'm not super worried about it. A lot of these electronics are conformal coated from the factory anyway. So, all right, that's looking pretty good. It looks like I have bundled up enough of these wires where they're not going to try to get out into the props, so that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to VHB this down, and then I just actually, before I do that, we're going to get the 04 plugged into the flight controller, because this will get in the way if I don't do that right now. And the wire run between the 04 and the flight controller is like 5 millimeters. I wish I had like the ultimate crazy short little wiring harness. I might be able to find one. I did just stumble across a bag of wires, so let's take a look. This is it 6-pin? Let me take a quick look here. I believe it's a 6-pin. Well, there's a bunch of pads here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's 6 pads on the bottom of the 04. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so 6. I actually don't need 6. I really only need 4. Power ground, TX, and RX. But I would rather do a 6-pin plug to protect all the extra pins. You can plug you can plug into these JSTs. If it's a 6-pin, you can plug in a 4 or a 5 or a 3. But it's a really good way of accidentally bending pins. And so, in my opinion, what you should do is use the plastic plug that's the correct number, but then just feed, if you only need 4 wires, just feed 4 wires into the 6-pin plug. What's this one down here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, there's a 6. What's that guy's deal? Wait, no, hold on. So these are all raw wires. These are all, ooh, this is kind of cool. And these are nice and short. I might use one of those. Oh, I got some super shorties in here. This might be good. These are way too long. And this is empty. Okay. Let's see how short of a little guy I can find. I don't think I'm going to use this either. All right. And so I'm going to take apart an existing little harness here. How short are these guys? These guys are kind of cool. They've got the plug on one side, but then they're bare on the other side. Oh, here's a... it's way too long, though. I was going to say, here's a 6-pin that's only got 4 plugs in it. That's kind of perfect. I also do need to look up what the setups are on both of these. All right, none of these are short enough. Let me find a super short jib jab in here. Cold Power says, my go-to move is to take a photo before I unsolder the wires. Yep, that's what I usually do when I'm not streaming. I can rely on you guys. Sporty says, I have a mini hot air gun for shrink wrapping. Cost me $15. Can't do anything wrong. Yeah, I wish there was... the last thing I need is another thing on the desk here. If there was a really small one that was, like, battery-powered, I might be down. But, like, I'm out of plugs. And, like, I try to keep this little workspace as clear as possible. I just turned off the soldering iron. I think I won't need to turn it back on. So let's see. What's the shortest in here? Might be this, but that's kind of fancy. That's a short one too. That one's a lot longer. That's pretty short. Same. Long. A little longer. Oh, this one all white. That's annoying. Oh, look at this. With all the blue, that's pretty short. Okay. All right. So, next thing I want to do is see if I can find one with 6. Nah. You know, I'm just going to use a set of fresh plugs, I think. When in doubt, use fresh plugs. The little latches that hold the little crimped on ends are pretty weak. And so, yeah, you should have a kit of these JSTs. It's really nice to have. Oh no, this is all the immersion RC ones. Here it is. Here's my little kit. And in the kit, they do have short wire runs, but they're usually not as short. But the kits will come with a shitload of the actual plugs. But in this case, it looks like this is the same length. Yeah, I don't have any of these that are... Well, these guys are quite a bit shorter. Hold on. I also actually have a case filled with these guys. It would be super nice to... if there was like a ridiculously short one of these. Like crazy short. I know I've seen one before. I've seen one of these that was like so short that I didn't even think it would reach from the flight controller to the ESC, even if they're stacked on top of each other. Here it is. This is it right here, actually. You know what? It's from the 04 Lite. Speaking of the 04 Lite, yo, DJI's warranty repair is really good. They're fast. They take pictures of it. They've already got my 04 Lite. They confirmed that that it was the camera that broke. The VTX is totally fine, and it's under warranty, and they're sending another one out tomorrow. I was really, really impressed. They did a awesome job, and they got it turned around really, really fast. I took a while to ship it to them. Was the majority of the delay. But yeah, man, it's all tracked on their website. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. So yeah, this is actually from an 04 Lite that I think I might not have used because I believe it was too short. But this is going to be absolutely perfect for us, and it's kind of cool that it's from an 04. So these guys are close, but no cigarette. And so I'm going to leave one of these out because it's got the black plugs. These other ones, though, I'm going to put away. This guy away. And then these guys are open-ended. Let's keep these organized. Where's the other guy? This chair makes farting noises. Can you hear it? I swear to God, it's not me. If it was me, I would tell you. Farts are funny. Here's the bag with the bare-ended ones. The bag with the bare-naked ladies. I'm actually going to keep this guy out, too. I'm going to use this with the 04 poly build. These guys are going to go in here, though. Yeah. Okay. A bag of bags. There we go. There we go. There we go. And bag of bags. So good, man. The micro prop bags stack up so nice in the 5-inch prop bags. There it is. Whole bunch of wires. Way too many. Way too many. So now all I need to check is the wiring here, and that's going to be kind of tough because they're all black. But a lot of times these are wired just like farthest right to farthest right. One in from that, one in from that. And in this case, that's exactly what's going on here. None of these guys cross over. These two are crossing over at the moment, but they cross and then they cross back. So I'm just getting that straightened out. Yeah, so this is a perfectly straight run. So let's see if that's what I need coming from the 04. First and foremost, I can technically take two of these wires out, but maybe not. We'll see. What flight controller is this? This is a DJI F722 Mini Mark II. F722 Mini Mark II. Let's see. F722 Mini. What did I say? So let's say Mark MK2. Wiring. Wait, no, I want to put DJI in there. It's the DJI version of it. All right, I think it's a Mamba. Yeah, Daitone Mamba DJI F720. There we go. Thank you, Oscar. And let's just take a look at it and make absolutely sure. That picture is definitely different. Is that a 30 by 30? That might be a 30 by 30. Yep, that's a 30 by 30. Does he also have the 20 by 21 on here? He does not. That's okay. Let's go into images. This almost always works. Or I can just do 20 by 20. Ditanamaba DJI F722. Let's see if this is it. Nope, that's the 30x30. This might be it. No, that's the Mark III. Nope. Mini Mark II. This should be it. Yep, this should be the one. Of course, it drives to a website. Where's the actual image? There it is. Okay, so now let's take a look. We've got the chip and then that. Type-C with buzzer pads. Yep, that looks good. And then off on the side there where I've soldered opposite from the USB-C, we've got 5-volt ground, RX1, TX1. RX1 is green, which means that green should be on the TX on the receiver, and it is. Perfect. So it's UART1 that has the ELRS soldered to it. That's great. So now I need to take a look at the plug. In theory, this is plug and play, but it's insane to not check that. So where does it call out the video transmitter plug? You gotta be shitting me. Other side, here we go. Other side. Okay, so great. Hold on. Let me click this and maybe it'll open bigger. Yeah. Still not clear enough though. Power and ground are good. So we're gonna make sure the power and the this is also going to old school DJI, but that's okay. Power, ground are all the way off on the left when I'm looking at it there. Power and ground being in the wrong spot is how you blow shit up. And so as long as the power and ground are correct between the flight controller and the VTX here, I'm happy because I'm not going to blow it up. And then I'll just see if it has OSD. And if it has OSD, then the RX and TX are correct. And then away we go. So let's find that plug here and take a look at, well, now I got to pull up 04. And so DJI 04 Pro wiring. All right, great. So we've got, this looks like it's the bottom, right? Antennas out the back, and then screw holes. Yep, so this is the bottom. So power, ground are on the left there. So that's a good sign. Power is on the outside, and then ground is one pin in. Same thing on the 04. Now we just got to take a look at pins up versus pins down. So on the 04, I'm going to need a little bit of magnification here. On the 04, the plug is oriented pins up. Okay, so this guy, when it's pins up, that means all the way off on this side is going to be the power. So power is here. On that side, power is on this side. So now I just have to confirm on the flight controller. Power is on my left. Flight controller up like this. Power is on my left. Pins are up. Okay, great. And awesome. Yep, good to go. So power on the left. Let's get this plugged in to the flight controller. And really make sure that it's seated. All right, great. And then pins up. Yes, perfect. Okay. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Yep, power on the left when I'm holding it like this. Other side, there's the OSD chip. Good. Good, good, good. And then pins up. Use my fingernail to get this plugged in as gentle as possible. These JST plugs, guys, they're way more fragile than you could possibly imagine. Really be super careful with them. They have like a lifespan of like 10 plugins or something. It's absolutely ridiculous. So always be super gentle with them. I was hoping that I would be able to just push this down and have it go like down and then kind of up. Let's use this spudger that Frank Nicholas sent me ages ago. I don't think this is going to take up enough space though doing it this way. I think I might need to like twist them up or figure something else out, but let's just try it. Just pushing them all the way down to the base plate. I can't see shit. You know what? That might actually work. Pick this up a little bit here. I'm also going to take this chance to plug the ESC in to the flight controller here. Pins are down in this case. This flight controller and ESC are sold together as a stack, so I don't have to troubleshoot this. I don't have to, not troubleshoot, but I don't have to look this up. This is the included wiring harness. Yeah, so like also it's super easy to bend those pins in them, in the JSTs, and boy, is that a motherfucker to unbend those pins. So always get it started just a little bit, and then as gentle as you possibly can, plug it in the rest of the way. But then you really do want to push on it. You want to give it some stank to make sure that it plugs in there and gets completely seated. So, no, yeah, we're good. Pushing those down is going to be totally fine. Let me just sneak this over up onto the standoff, the screws. And all right, so the camera cable is going to the left, so I'm going to pull these guys to the right. Just a little bit here. The other things you could do is like come in here and do each wire at a time. Sometimes that's even more gentle, but you'll figure out what's the best way for you. Just again, be like infinitely gentle with the JST stuff. Also, I mean, like 30 gauge wires in general, you want to be like ridiculously gentle with. But yeah, 30 gauge wires and JST is a double whammy. All right. This is looking pretty good here. Yeah, this cable's the perfect length. And it looks official because it's all black. Impossible to troubleshoot. There. Sweet. That's looking good. This is looking good. We'll get that VHB down there. Make sure these cables are going upwards, pushing against the top plate. Looks like there's just enough clearance. Sweet. We're looking pretty hot here. Looking pretty clean. Oh, Danzella says remove the S-Bus and S-Bus ground wire from the air unit harness. It'll mess up if you're not using DJI control. Are you kidding me? Come on now. Really? You can't just not select that UART? Like, that's not UART 1. Man, come on. That's some absolute nonsense. DJI, what the hell, man? How'd they even do that? Thank you, dude. I gotta pull this cable all the way out to get those removed. But that's fine. That's super silly. All right, so this guy's coming out here. Come on, you rat bastard. Get out of there. Just being super careful. Don't want to bend any of them. They're pins. Okay. Let me check something, actually. Let me make sure that... Oh, shit. Well, we're not finishing this tonight. I got a bit of a situation here where the cable... I've got so many wires stacked up on top of each other on the battery pads of this flight controller that it's hitting the bottom of that. It's hitting the wire there. Shit sticks. That sucks. What's up, Bobo? Cool. Go make yourself some food.
I don't know what to eat.
Well, that's a you problem.
I want McDonald's.
Sucks to be you. You're not old enough to drive.
Oh, Chloe, can you drive?
I can drive.
Yeah,
No, you can't.
I have a permit.
That permit is very different than a driver's license. Go make yourself some food, bro.
I want Burger King.
Yeah, I always want Burger King.
I wonder if my mom's awake.
But if we eat Burger King all the time, we'll die, so we can't do
I
that.
wonder if my mom's awake.
She's not.
I'm gonna go ask her anyway.
Oh, don't wake her up. All right, so the problem is the cable going to the God damn you, to the capacitor. Oh, oh god damn it. If I change the direction of it though, I'll be fine. If I spin it around to go this way, I'll be okay. Oh boy, is that annoying. Okay. So I might be able to do this without pulling this like all the way apart. We'll see. First thing I'm going to do is just desolder that. I think I might be able to just knock this out. Let's give it a shot. So we're going to kick the soldering iron back on. I'm going to put a little blob of flux here, and we're gonna see if I can just kind of bodge this a little bit. Oh man, this is gonna be tight. This is gonna be tough. Well, we're gonna try it though. So I'll get it off nice and clean, and then I'll just try to sort of change the direction that it's sitting in there. I don't have that many wires stacked up actually. I've got the XT60 lead on the top. This ESC has pads top and bottom for the battery lead. So I've got the XT30 on the bottom, and then I've got the XT60 on top. But then I just happen to also have the capacitor wires up on top, and it's just this one that's a problem. The positive one is totally fine actually. It's just this one going to the ground that I sent in the wrong direction. I had originally built this thinking that I was going to have this ESC rotated 180 degrees from the way it is, and so that's just kind of biting me in the ass right now. So, but you know, welcome to scratch building. All right, let's see how quick I can get this off of here. This is a ground pad, so it might fight me. Nope, that was really nice. Okay, cool. So now I'm just going to... I'm really tempted to just bail on the capacitor, but there is a little spot for it, and I think I can get it to be kind of cool in here. And so if I just take this guy like that, yeah, that's the move. That should sit down in there flat enough. I just gotta figure out how I can get this soldering iron in here like that. Will that work? I don't know if I'm gonna get enough of a contact patch like this. Let's give it a shot though. Nope, let's put a bunch of flux on it first. Okay. I hate having to rework this pad again, but I don't have much of a choice. All right, bunch of flux on it. I'm I'm gonna clean the shit out of the tip of the soldering iron because I don't want to add any extra solder here. There's plenty of solder on this pad. The problem I'm gonna have is, like I said, contact patch. This is a ground pad, so it's gonna suck up a lot of heat. I'm gonna sneak the soldering iron in like this. This is gonna give me a much better contact patch. There we go. And joint is liquid. And one more second. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Stay nice and still. Don't blow on it. Oh, that came out pretty good. That is looking pretty fine. Let's go to manual. So it's the ground joint there, nice and smooth. You can see there are some, Jesus Christ, there are some little tiny stripes here. Hold on, let me get something a little bit finer than that. There's some striping right here, which is not the best. I would really prefer this entire solder joint to be completely smooth, but it is smooth enough where it should be completely fine. Worst case scenario is that the capacitor will pop off here. That is not the absolute end of the world as long as it doesn't short, but that looks smooth enough where I don't think that that's a cold enough solder joint that it'll cause any issues. What you don't want is for this top wire, if your bottom wire is like this, you don't want the top wire to be like that. As long as it's flowing like that, it's going to be strong enough. And it sounds like somebody let the dog out and didn't let him back in. He's out there screaming and yelling. I'll save you, Teddy. Don't worry. Come on, buddy. I'll save you. Come on. Come on, baby. Small dog, get your ass in here. Good boy. Oh, you stink so bad. Your mother just bathed you. Oh, buddy. What did you get into out there? What does he get into that smells so bad? Are you rolling around in your own shit? Is that the deal? I mean, he has been shitting in the backyard for many, many months. Mike Dennis says, why do you have both XT30 and XT60 on this Droid? I've never seen that setup before. All of the live broadcast guys are now doing that so that in between battery changes, if you need to do a really fast battery change, you plug you come in with a dead battery, you plug a storage voltage battery into the other port, you unplug your dead battery, you plug a fresh battery in, you unplug the storage voltage battery. Your digital VTX doesn't power down. You don't have to wait the 60 seconds for it to reconnect, and you're back up in the air very quickly. Towards the end of cycling races, it would have been so nice to have had that. I've had a couple situations where like I have to do a battery change between the second to last and last lap, and I'll miss the riders on the second to last lap, which is like not great. I always get them on the last lap, but yeah, missing the second to last lap kind of sucks. But it's more important to have a fresh battery for the last lap and to be able to have a little bit of extra battery afterwards for. Yeah, you just want to have as fresh of a... If I time it perfectly, I'll change the battery. I'll have a fresh battery for the second to last lap, but sometimes it's hard to just get that all perfectly organized. Okay, so I need to take 2 wires out of this goddamn thing. Oh my god, it's 11:53. I'm going to do this on my time, and we're going to fly a couple batteries, and then say goodbye. I made it weird. Hold on. Let me get the. I actually don't want this to be this down-facing camera to be on autofocus because it's just so bad when it's in autofocus. We're gonna lock the focus right there. Oh, right there. Wait, can I use the arrow keys for this? Of course not. Why would Logitech make it work properly? That's close enough. Cool. Here we go. We're gonna try the Mega Power Loop a couple times for sure because you know impossible tricks are always the ones you do the most. Here we go. Eesh. Plugging things in. For the record, if you think I was being too harsh on the kiddos, Little Boo asks me for McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell every single day. So, screw you. It's just a constant thing. Hey, also, I've been watching Joshua's Gemini Radio Master Nomad videos, and I learned a whole bunch. I also decided that I see you. Oh, it's you! It's my favorite. What are you doing? You are not taking them out for food.
Ask what you wanted for McDonald's.
Oh, you are such a sucker. I can't eat McDonald's again. I'll shit my pants. Yeah.
Sage apparently has like free delivery in his. I don't know how he has this, the free trial to DoorDash.
Oh God.
How much he's ordered from DoorDash, but apparently it is free shipping, so he's willing to order it through his app. You don't want anything?
No.
Not even a drink or fries?
No. Nothing. Okay, you convinced me.
You want chicken nuggets?
No, their chicken nuggets are awesome. Awful,
sandwich.
awful.
That
No.
crispy fish sandwich
Oh
with the
God.
cheese and the fish is
McDonald's
always
fish
on
sandwich.
fire. They're always on
I didn't charge any Tiny Whoop batteries, guys. We're not flying. Well, that's nice. This battery's dead anyway. Can you get me? I shouldn't, but I will. Give me a Big Mac. It'll be disgusting. Give me a Big Mac. Yeah. Big Mac. Big Mac me.
You sure?
Yes.
You want
It'll be
fries?
fine. I'll be fine. No, just a Big Mac.
Just the Big Mac.
Yep. Thank you. Sorry, fellas. I completely forgot to charge batteries. Yeah, there's nothing I can fly. But what I was saying is, I've got this guy on. What I've decided is this is going to be my Tiny Whoop module. I have to keep this module because it's got that awesome little trick that I can do with bind mode, which makes binding a lot quicker because it has the screen on it. The Nomad module doesn't have a screen, and ELRS won't let you just use the regular bind mode. And so the ELRS module is like basically everything other than tiny whooping. This is on crossband X150. So 150 hertz, which is going to be higher latency, but the X is crossband where it's connected with both 900 and 2.4 at all times, and it bounces back and forth whenever it needs to. I also realized that this has two completely separate transmitters in it, and so this eats your transmitter battery twice as fast. So using this when I'm sitting here flying around the house with tiny whoops that are only single, that are not Nomad, not Gemini, right, is kind of silly. So yeah, this is the ELRS receiver that leaves the house with me if I want to fly outside somewhere where I might be using the XR4, which actually has the Nomad Gemini setup. And then yeah, inside the house it's the little Neminmo, or just when I want the lowest possible latency. I was actually really excited to fly tonight because I wanted to see if I could maybe tell a difference on. I've always had everything set up on 250, which is like a really nice mix of low latency but really good range. I was kind of looking forward to flying this on 500. I've flown 500 before, and I thought maybe I could tell a little bit of a difference, but yeah, I was excited, and now I'm sad. But I'm gonna have a Big Mac soon, so I'll have worse things to worry about, like my booty hole exploding and catching fire. So pray for me. It won't happen until tomorrow, though. Last couple of comments of the live stream, and then we'll meet up back again on Wednesday. Islander FPV says, love it when a stream ends with some batteries being ripped in the old Whoop drone. So do I, Islander. Unfortunately, this ain't the stream for that. Cole Powers says Simulator Monday. Nah, man, it'll take me 5 minutes. Guaranteed Velocidrone will need to update, which will take a half an hour. Apache Smoke with the last comment of the live stream. He says, good morning. How are you doing? I'm good, brother. Apache Smoke, thanks as always for the incredibly awesome work on all the timestamps, man. You are so appreciated by this whole community. It's amazing. Off Axis with the actual last comment of the live stream. He says, any thoughts on the Tiny Whoop drama? I talked about it on yesterday's live stream. The long and short of it is that Jesse's never been a monster to me. I try not to just go off of what other people say, right? People, like, this is an emotional issue, and people are, when it's an emotional issue, people misremember stuff, people embellish stuff. So, you know, I'm going to go off of what has happened to me, which has been that all of my interactions with Jesse have been totally fine. He flew me out and put me up in the Whoop house for the Tiny Whoop Open, which was super kind. Jeff from Weebleed has also been incredibly nice to me, super generous. Jeff has been one of the biggest contributors to this stream, which has been really, really nice. And so, yeah, I don't have beef with either one. Admittedly, reading some of the stories from people that I have met before and I do kind of trust, not people that I'm like super close friends with, though, it seems kind of disappointing. But I don't have like a really good friend that has had a negative experience where I can just say, you know what, F this guy. And again, this whole thing is getting super emotional, and that messes people up. You know, like, look, there's always two sides to a story. That's where I'm at with it. I'm not gonna go one way or the other. Both people have been amazing towards me, and that's it. You know, I'm gonna leave it there. So, yeah, I on the other side of it, I'm disappointed with the whole Tiny Who thing. You know, taking somebody else's logo and then changing it is what happened to me with Fractal, and it hurt, and I really didn't like it, and I still don't like it, and I still feel that it's super shitty of them to continue to sell that t-shirt. When I was at the Tiny Whoop Open and I would and somebody would be wearing that t-shirt, it hurt. It was not cool with me at all. And so I don't like that that's going on. I totally understand why it's happening, but you know, so I'm disappointed to read some of the stories about people's interactions with Jesse, and I'm kind of disappointed with the whole ripping off a logo thing. And so, you know, whatever. But it's the whole thing sucks. That's the long and short of it. The whole thing doesn't help anyone. It's just, yeah. No one wins. Hooray! What's up, CMYK? Exactly. Thanks for hanging, friends. I'll see you Wednesday night, and I'll have some batteries charged, I promise, because we're flying for sure. And there is going to be a hell of a giveaway. Not giveaway, but a raffle on Wednesday night. So, yeah, if you're into Tiny Whoops, you're not going to want to miss Wednesday night. It'll probably happen at around 11 o'clock, so don't miss Wednesday. You might be able to spend like $5 on a ticket for the raffle thing and maybe win an entire Tiny Whoop that's been on the channel a bunch recently. There's your gift for staying in until 12:04 Eastern time on a Monday night stream. See you guys Wednesday. You won't want to miss it, I promise. Put it on your put a calendar alert on your phone. Love you, bye. Here's some more. So beginning of the stream was the Siren F3 with 1505 motors and 3052 propellers. Onboard DVR from Walksnail. Now it's going to be the Grinderino. 3.5-inch props. I think they're Gemfan 3520s on Xnova 1804 3500 kV motors. Let me really quickly pick one of these files that's actually has some length to it. That's what she said. 1.25 gigabytes. This should have some actual flying in it. Yeah, some good flying too. Enjoy, friends. Here's some Grinderino action. Walksnail in, I want to say 1080. Yep, Walksnail in 1080/30. Love you, bye. See you Wednesday.